Brandywine River Museum in Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania is the showcase for the Brandywine Conservancy. The museum is well known for its collection of paintings and drawings by Andrew, Jamie, and N.C. Wyeth and other family members, plus scores of artists and illustrators who worked in the region. Formerly a grits mill, it's been converted into a museum with changing exhibitions. At Christmas time, the Brandywine River Museum is especially festive with a Brandywine Christmas display which features naturally decorated Christmas trees, O-gauge model trains, and various art exhibitions. The museum is surrounded by gardens of plants which are indigenous to the Brandywine region. The old mill building is attached to a glass tower which allows visitors to view paintings in the mill's galleries and then view the surrounding river and countryside. Looking at the building from the riverside, one can appreciate the talents of the museum's architect, James R. Greaves of Baltimore, as the old brick mill blends into the new glass tower. A circular brick-paved lobby entices visitors to stand at the river's edge while still standing inside the museum building. A hollow space inside this tower provides special acoustics which allow the museum to present musical recitals at certain times. In September of 1984, a new $3.6 million addition was built, which has doubled the interior space of the museum. A second glass tower contains enlarged offices and a new 120-seat restaurant. A new gallery on the third floor features a unique skylighting system which allows paintings to be seen in the natural daylight. From inside or outside, it is clear that the Brandywine River is a very important feature of the museum.
And we're going to learn a little bit more about the Brandywine River and the Brandywine Valley from my guest, Bill Sellers, who is the director of the Environmental Center for the Brandywine Conservancy. Did I get that all out?
Exactly.
Bill, why don't we begin by talking a little bit about Brandywine Conservancy. Tell me a little bit about the organization.
Well, the Brandywine Conservancy obviously operates the Brandywine River Museum, which you saw the short of. We also operate an environmental center. Major purpose of that being to work with private landowners and local and state governments in Pennsylvania to protect our most important land and water resources. Now, I said Pennsylvania, we also work in Delaware as well, in northern Delaware, Newcastle County primarily.
I know that you accomplished, I guess, a major goal this year in buying a very expensive piece of property. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, this past summer we culminated a 3-year effort to put together a conservation plan for the King Ranch in Chester County. It's the Texas King Ranch back in the 50s purchased this land, about close to 6,000 acres in Chester County, and operated their cattle ranch there, fattening beef for the eastern market. What we did essentially was to put together a group of private investors committed to conservation who had bought the ranch, and they have restricted 4,500 acres of the land to 3 houses per 100 acres, and then they're going to give us, the Conservancy, an 800-acre nature preserve. So it's a fairly substantial land conservation deal.
We're going to start taking a look at what this ranch looks like, but before we do, maybe it would help if you explain to me what this purchase is going to mean for residents around the Delaware, but the Brandywine Valley.
Well, the buck and doe runs that go through the ranch constitute 1/2 of the flow of the West Branch of the Brandywine, where they join there. They're very effective, they're very clean, and they clean up the Brandywine at that point. The West Branch then goes down, joining the East Branch, which is polluted where it joins, fairly polluted, and they clean up the East Branch. The West Branch cleans up the East Branch, which means that in the long run, Delaware ends up with clean water. The city of Wilmington withdraws water from the Brandywine, and so as a consequence, if we can preserve this land and water resources on the King Ranch, we're really preserving water for Wilmington and Newcastle County.
Well, let's look now at one slide I know that's coming up here. We've got cattle.
These are the Santa Gertrudis cattle, the King Ranch's own special brand. They won't be seen in Chester County much anymore because they've been shipped back to Texas. There will be cattle on the ranch.
Why were they shipped back? I'm just curiosity.
King Ranch has not been able to, in the last 10 years, to really make money on their eastern operation. So they're retrenching mainly to Texas.
Okay, but there will be some cattle on that land?
That's correct. The new owners are switching breeds. This is sort of an overview and shows you how open the land is right now. And it's been in pasture for many, many years, not in corn. As a consequence, that's another reason why it's been a very clean source of water for people of Wilmington. This shot here is an overview of where the two streams come together, the Buck Run on the right and the Doe Run on the left, and you can barely see it, but there are two covered bridges in the photograph. There are one on the left bottom and one in the top right, which we'll see a close-up of in just a second. That's the covered bridge on the right. Both of these covered bridges will be in the 800-acre nature preserve that is being given to the Conservancy, and will provide sort of a focal point for all of our conservation efforts in the Brandywine.
How long did it take the Brandywine Conservancy? I mean, in terms of, were you working on this for a year or 2 years?
Well, very intensively for 9 months, but we actually were involved in studies leading up to the purchase over a period of 3 years total. So it's been a major part of our lives there. So
the Conservancy themselves, or rather the organization itself, could not afford to buy this land?
No, this is a $13.5 million purchase, and what we did was get these conservation-minded investors to put up the money to purchase it. And through charitable deductions that are available under the tax code, we're able to achieve this level of preservation which we sought, as well as get an 800-acre nature preserve. But it was a unique group of investors who were willing to put up that much money working with a conservation organization. We're fortunate in finding a manager or general partner of this group who is a former regional administrator of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and he's done an excellent job of pulling the group of investors together.
It's amazing when you think of it. In the end, the long run is Delaware is going, rather Wilmington is going to have cleaner water as a result of this move. A costly one, and you spent a lot of time working on it, but I think it's going to be great for the city.
Oh, thank you. We're pretty proud of it ourselves.
Right. You have anything else coming up? Any long-term goals?
Well, the ranch itself, this acquisition and the conservation plan has really helped us in the area because we're now working on projects involving an additional 5,000 acres of land in the immediate area. And we have another 1,200-acre project, an acquisition project that we're working on as well.
Well, good. I hate to cut you off, but we are running out of some time here. Great. I hope things work out well for you. I think you're doing